Hi, everyone, and welcome. I have just started it. We are going to move people to panelists in a few minutes and get things ready. We have not actually started the meeting yet.
Corey, can you please promote me to, I believe, co-host? Thank you. So just a reminder for council members, if you see a little pop-up, I believe you have to accept the invitation as it pops up. Thanks.
I only get to be a panelist. I wanted to be Grand Poobah.
I don't think Zoom has that role, Jordan.
We just have to make it.
Okay,
Haven't you watched the news? You can do anything these days. It doesn't matter.
that's true.
It's free for all.
It is a free round. Hi, Brian. Welcome.
Howdy. Thanks for the promotions.
You're welcome. We are on a little early today to try to get folks moved over. It's not quite 1 yet. We haven't actually started the meeting yet. So just bear with us, everyone, as folks kind of trickle in. Feel free to get yourself set up, get some water and everything.
Feel free to grab some kind of poncho that might be as cool as Corey's.
This is a
that shirt's
cardigan,
pretty
actually.
snazzy.
But
Oh, party!
I'm jealous.
thanks. It's actually a little hot for today. I was outside not too long ago, and it's warm out there.
Right?
In the sun.
Yeah, in the sun.
Michaela, how's my orange? Experience tells me that orange is not the best color for being on video. I need to cover it with something more basic.
I love it. Where did you get that? I love that shirt.
I was wearing it around a friend of mine, and he's like, dude, you know that's a golf shirt, right? I was like, it's okay, right? And he goes,
There's nothing wrong with golf.
huh?
There's nothing wrong with golf if you have time to do it. That's my problem.
The way he said it, I was like, okay, so you're not a fan. I take it.
It's funny you asked that, Brian, because I was
your face. I'm good.
I was just about to compliment you on it. I really like the diamond pattern.
Oh, right on. Thank you. Thank you. Corey, I have, or if Corey, if your brain is busy, that's okay, and whoever else can respond. I have 3 calendar invites on my schedule for today. One of them didn't work. The second one I tried did work. I wonder if other people have multiple calendar invites. The 2 that I looked at seem to have the same Zoom ID number, but again, one worked, one didn't. Just to be aware, there's something that I just experienced.
Yeah. I don't. Those are artifacts from something way long ago.
Bottom line is you have to register to get the Zoom that works, right?
Yeah. And I sent out an email around 11 to the council members reminding folks of that with the new registration link, because you have to register for each meeting.
Decline on one of them, all events in the series. And I guess when you say you have to register for each one, then should there be no series? Like I should not have one on my calendar for next month and they're each one off.
Let me look at February here. I'm really hoping. Oh no, there is another one. I see another one here. I'm going to delete this one. And then I'm going to wait till after this meeting to delete any meeting invites, just in case somebody takes that as a message of we're not meeting or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so after today, those were just kind of holds anyways, and they, in theory, should have been the correct registration link. I forget how that second one got on there, but I remember having to fight with it a little bit.
Okay.
After today, we're going to have a fully new registration link and series to go with. So I will just go ahead and delete all those. I just don't want to delete any today because then somebody will get something in their inbox saying the meeting's been deleted. And then they might be like,
Exactly.
oh, I'm not coming anymore, I guess, kind of thing.
No,
So,
I understand you. Culling is part of clarity, and
mm,
thank you for being on top of that.
yeah, I will make sure to do that. I did get a message from one of our council members. She will be late. Um, they're scheduled to have a fire drill at 1, but she'll be on after. Just an
Do you want me to
FYI.
share with Lynn, Michaela, Jordan about Jordan's plural
Mm,
about our prep thing last week, or did you get a chance to, or maybe that's not so germane. Do you want me to share about Michelle coming in today?
um, sure.
So Michelle Dumais, Brian, and Corey met last 1 week ago today to prepare for today, and Michelle would be willing to, what's that called, interim co-chair for 1 day, and so that's what we anticipate. And then I am available to be of service. So if that means being a co-chair, I'll step forward, but I'll wait and I'll do an eternity of uncomfortable silence to let other people step into their power and come forward, and support their leadership growth. And I'm available to co-chair, but I'm also available if I don't co-chair and we get two co-chairs and an CA and a CAC person, and there's something else I can do. I'm sure I can help with this process of engagement of past members, and there's other things I can do. So I'm just in the wings, so to speak, to use a theater term, and welcome in others. I know that few people are joining us.
Sergeant at arms in charge of laughter.
Thank you, Jordan. Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you, Brian. Um, gonna go a little bit in a different way here. I just want to remind people that AI accounts are not permitted within this public meeting forum. If you use an AI software or any other kind of software for that matter, please reach out to IDEAS, IDDEAS at denvergov.org. We will permit software and other things that help you access the meeting if they're used for accessibility reasons. We just need individual proof of that. We need that noticed, and we need to approve that ahead of time. Thank you for understanding. Yes. And then we do have a quorum. So Brian, Michelle, Alexa are here. I'm just looking at the participant list.
And this is Lynn jumping in from tech support. If you are a council member, I'm working on trying to promote you. So if you see a little pop-up saying accept invitation to be a panelist or something similar, please accept that so we can get you over into the panelist area. Thanks.
Let's just give it maybe 2 more minutes before we get right into it, just to allow for more council members to join.
If you're available to unmute and say hello, I welcome you to do that. If not, that is okay too. Thank you for your presence. And can we all just say hello and thank you to the sunshine? We're in beautiful Colorado where the sunshine and the snow play together. Let the games begin.
Not to put anybody on the spot, but Chris Patton, if you wouldn't mind clicking the accept notice that comes up on your screen, that will allow you to be a panelist. You need to click that first in order to do it. Okay. Well, it's 1:05. I don't want to wait too much longer. We do have a quorum. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 council members that I can see currently. We may have a few join later, and we'll note that on our meeting minutes. So thanks everybody for coming. Thank you all for being here. As Brian was kind of talking about earlier today, the chair terms have technically expired for our past chairs. So before we can do anything else today, I'll get into the expectations, I'll get into everything else that we're going to do. I would like to open the floor for somebody to motion to serve as temporary co-chair for today. And we only need one. We can have two if we'd like, but we only need one. As Brian mentioned, this could be a great dip into the water to kind of see how it feels for those who are here and get a little taste of it, because we are going to do officer elections today. And so if you're kind of on the fence, well, maybe this could be a good little taste of that and getting that going. And this is only temporary, so whoever's going to do it, you'll do it just for today. And then if you are not elected going forward, you don't have to do it again. So would anybody move to serve as temporary chair for today, helping to facilitate the meeting?
And Corey, I see someone else that is just joined. So if you would be willing to repeat that invitation.
Sure. For anybody who just joined, welcome. We are here at the IDEAS Advisory Council. We have not yet started yet. We do have a quorum. However, before we start, we will need to elect a temporary co-chair. So if anybody would like to move to serve as temporary chair for today, as Jordan says, step on up. It won't hurt you. It'll be very easygoing. Honestly, for today's agenda, it's the best agenda to do it because I am going to be doing a lot of the facilitation. But I do need one of y'all to jump on in, serve to facilitate and move through our agenda for today.
So do we nominate ourselves? Is that how we do it if we're doing it ourselves?
Yeah, any kind of
Okay.
language would work. I think the clearest language would be to say something like, I move to serve as today's temporary chair. And then we would just need a second in the motion, yeses in the chat, and we're good to go.
Okay, this is Michelle Demay. I motion to allow me to serve today as the temporary chair for the next 120 minutes.
Do we have a second to that motion?
In the chat, there is.
Thank you. Thanks for those eyes. We do have a second in the chat by both Stephanie and Brian. For that, would people please say yes, no, or abstain to vote to allow Michelle to serve today as chair? And a yuppers will count as a yes.
And Michelle, you can vote for yourself.
I'll have to vote orally because my mouse seems to have just died. So this is Michelle and I'll vote for myself.
Appreciation for the self-advocacy.
Wonderful. Well, I count a majority vote for yes. And so what that means is that, Michelle, you will be serving as our temporary chair today. It's low stakes. The first order of business that you'll have to do is just call this meeting to order since we have a quorum.
So it's 10 after 1. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do I get to abuse my power and order lunch? Is no? No. Okay.
You could order it for yourself and pay for it for yourself and then pretend that we did or something.
Sit right there. I'm gonna get my drink.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, Michelle, for serving as today's chair. Could we get the PowerPoint shared if you are ready, Lynn? Mhm. There we are. Wonderful. So, welcome everyone. Today's IDEAS Advisory Council public meeting is January 28th, 2025. Michelle Dumais is going to be serving as our temporary chair today. We are going to hold officer elections. That is why we have a temporary chair for today. Once we do that, then we will have regularly attending co-chairs and a CAC member. Before we get into that, though, would you mind going to the next screen there, Lynn? Thank you. So here is our agenda. We will do a welcome and meeting overview. We will move then to council and partner updates. We will hold our officer election, and I will go through how that will be done once we get to that. After that, we will have a break. We'll move to scheduling, where we will plan out the rest of this year. Now, it can be altered, but I'll talk more about that at that time. And then we will take 20 minutes and talk about recruitment for this year to try to fill our final 4 seats on the council. Nobody has signed up for public comment today, and so we will be skipping public comment. As a reminder to everyone, if you would like to make public comments, you will need to use our public comment form or email ideas@denvergov.org to sign up ahead of time. You have to submit your public comment by 1 o'clock the day before a public meeting. At the end, we'll just take 5 minutes to plan for our next February meeting, although that might also be covered during our scheduling, and so we can forego that if we need to. Can we move to next slide, please? Thank you. So here at IDEAS, we are the Intellectual and Developmental Disability Equitable Access to Services. Our mission is to partner with the community to manage local taxpayer dollars dedicated for Denver residents with intellectual and developmental disabilities and developmental delay. We strive to make Denver an inclusive community where people with IDD feel welcomed, valued, and empowered to live the lives they envision for themselves. This council that is meeting today is comprised of Denver residents with lived experience with IDD. The IAC meets monthly to discuss all sorts of topics relevant to Denver residents with IDD and developmental delay. And using community feedback, individual knowledge, and expert presentations, the council provides recommendations to Denver Human Services about the best way to prioritize funds and programs. Next slide, please. So just some ground rules. Please be respectful of everyone attending the meeting. We do have votes. We do discuss public business. All of that we discuss here today is intended to be professional, to be kind, to be understanding of everybody who is here. We don't carry any ill will towards anyone inside or outside of the meeting. Please stay muted, raise your hand, and then unmute to speak. Introduce yourself when you are speaking. Stay on topic and consider if your point speaks for the people of Denver who have IDD. All meetings are public and recorded. Chats are also public. This means that you should not be putting anything into the chat that is personal or private. Consider also your verbal words or anything that you share on screen. Don't share things like your address or phone number unless you want the public to know those things. Votes will happen in the chat as a matter of public record. Ensure that your chat is set to communicate with everyone. And so you want to go to your chat button where it says to hosts and panelists. You want to change that to everyone if you haven't already. If anybody does send anything to hosts and panelists, I will copy and paste and then just repeat that to everyone. In fact, I'm doing that now. Thank you. Please remain safe during meetings. If you need to leave and then rejoin when able, this means that if you're driving, if you're taking this meeting in a certain place that might be unsafe, feel free to jump off. You don't need to vote. You don't need to participate while you're doing something important like that. Consider your safety a priority. Come on and rejoin us when you're in a more safe location. Please respect and honor the Denver Code of Ethics. This means expressing any conflicts of interest you might have and just making sure that we're in alignment with our bylaws and all that. And then last but never least, have fun, speak up, and advocate for your community. Next slide, please. Yeah, you're good. Oh, I think I forgot a slide again. Before we get into meeting minutes review, why don't we stop sharing for a minute and go around and introduce ourselves? Michelle, since you are chair, I'll let you lead. And then why don't you just select the council members that you can see and ask them to introduce themselves. Only council members will introduce themselves. I'll introduce myself at the end as well, just so that people know who I am since I'm unfortunately talking so much.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. It's funny that you said, this is Michelle Demay, first of all. It's funny that you said go around and announce the council members you can see because my screen is totally black. So by default, I will call at the end the last person I saw. So Stephanie, that's you. So I'm Michelle Demay, and I'm not quite sure how long I've served, but I have enjoyed every minute of it. And today, as Brian said, I get to do a little bit differently and do some leadership of the group. But I advocate for and raise the voice in places and spaces for my daughter and for her community. And so this was a natural selection to come and serve here. So Stephanie, you're the last wave I saw, so before the screen went black, so I'm gonna call on you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Gross. I use she, her pronouns. I am a white female, middle 40s. I am wearing black new frames because apparently staring at the computer has killed my eyesight for so long. I'm also wearing a gray zip up with the proud emblem of the Philadelphia Eagles. And finally, I have brown hair, and I am coming to you from my home office where I advocate for adaptive yoga for individuals with IDD in schools, day programs, camps, and training for their care team providers and professionals. Um, so I should just pick someone. Corey, yes. Molly?
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm joining late. My name is Molly Mason. I am a white female. I have brown hair and I'm wearing a navy blue sweater with a little hoodie. It's very comfy today. Sorry for being late. I am coming from my school. We had our evacuation drill right at the end of lunch. So it was a busy little time to do that. Yeah, I think, did I cover all of the things to share? And would you mind raising your hand if you haven't gone yet? Because I'm late. I don't know. Awesome. Brian?
Hey, everybody. Brian B, like be who you are. I'm a middle-aged white guy. I'm zooming in from home today, and I've got a orange shirt on because I like to play. I'm happy that the sun is out, and I'm going to come along with it. I'm a autistic artist advocate. I work at JFK Partners or the University of Colorado School of Medicine. I was the co-chair here last year, and it's a privilege to be alongside each of you. Thanks for being here. And Alexa, come say hi.
Hi, everyone. I am Alexa Gagne. I am a white female, 43, I think I just turned, wearing a yellow sweater, sitting in my office here in Denver, with just some plain old blinds behind me. Yeah, happy to be here with you all and ready for January to be done and the cold. And who should I pass it to? Would it be Kisley?
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Hi, everybody. I'm Kisley Blue. I'm the Mill Levy Program Manager here at Rocky Mountain Human Services. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a Black woman in my early 40s here in my home office wearing gray today. And I'm a non-voting member. And I hate to break it to you, Alexa, but I don't think the cold is over yet after January, but here's tuition. I think I'll pass it over to Chris. Looks like he probably has not gone.
Chris, you are welcome to come off mute and introduce yourself. I will copy and paste what you just said in the chat to everyone here.
And Michelle, can I ask you as our temporary co-chair today, Chris asked if somebody else, oh, never mind. Never mind.
I can go ahead and read it. I missed that last sentence there. Chris Patton says, "Hi, I am Chris Patton. My camera today is having troubles. Sorry, or having problems. Sorry. I am a 41-year-old male, and I am yearning to continue to be part of such a great group. Can someone please read this for me? Thank you." And Chris, feel free to jump on whenever you can. Sorry that you're having technical difficulties. I can relate. While I have the mic, I'm going to keep the mic, and I will introduce myself. I am Corey Boyle. I am the Denver Human Services staff liaison for the IDEAS Advisory Council. I work with the IDEAS program as a program administrator. I perform a lot of the inclusion work as well as helping facilitate these meetings. I am a white male presenting individual wearing a multicolor cardigan today with a yellow green lanyard, a slightly red collared shirt. I've got a lower darker scruff on the lower half of my face and short brown hair with square glasses. We do our visual introductions. Just as a reminder, everybody, it is January, so I'm going to do a few little reminders today. We do visual introductions for those who might not be able to engage with us visually and therefore can understand and better communicate with us and connect with us despite not being able to do that. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. If we could resume sharing, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Lynn. Oh, Lynn, if you want, you're welcome to introduce yourself too. You're doing a lot right today, and I'm going to be talking to you directly. So
And to audio describe, I see Lynn frantically looking around for the mute button to turn on her microphone.
yeah, I want to give kudos to Lynn. She is doing a lot today. She is working our PowerPoint while also making sure that everybody has all the permissions they need to engage and communicate, which is no small feat, honestly. Okay, great. So with introductions, then we'll move on to our meeting minutes review. So Michelle, if you'd like to lead this, it is a standard where council members will discuss the meeting minutes for November's meeting, which is 2 months ago.
So even though it's 2 months ago, I'd like to, should I, Corey, give folks a moment to do anything with the minutes, or can I just ask that they be approved? Though I have a motion for them to be approved.
Yeah, you're welcome to do that. So by asking to approve them, this gives council members the chance to not approve them. And so you can go right into it. And if you motion to approve and then you get a second and everybody approves, it's under the understanding that that means that everybody's okay with it. However, we can also just give space for like a few seconds, just in case somebody wants to come off of mute, to say, hey, I actually don't think that this was recorded correctly or anything like that. So up to you with how you want to lead that little conversation.
So I'll give a few moments for folks to come off mute and to mention any revisions that might be needed, and then I'll ask for a motion. Okay, I don't see anything popping up in the chat, so could I have a motion for them to be approved, please?
This is Alexa Gagne, and I approve, motion to approve, or I approve. Sorry.
Thank you, Alexa. Could I have a second, please? And Stephanie has seconded. Thank you so much, Stephanie. So that's it, folks. I think we need to just vote in the chat, and then we can conclude that portion. And Corey, how many do we need to have for carrying it?
We will need. Give me a second, just because we had some folks jump on. So let me just do a little recount of how many folks are on
Okay.
today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, we should have 6 out of our 7 members. So we need at least 4. Yeah, 4.
So I believe we have 4 to carry it. So that motion is passed.
Wonderful. You're a natural.
A natural something, not sure today, but thank you.
Okay. Yep, great. So we're gonna go into council and partner updates. Michelle, I know you're serving as chair today, but you're also welcome to talk about any recent community advisory council meetings that you may have had. And Kisley, you are also welcome to join in with that before we get into our council updates.
Okay, so this is Michelle again, and I will make a few statements about CAC, and then Kisley always has my back, so whatever I miss, I know she catches. Thank you, Kisley, in advance. So the last order of business that the Community Advisory Council worked on was, Kisley, was it 47 or 42 community initiatives?
I believe 43.
43, thank you. We had 43 community initiatives, a good number of new, mostly those were new. I think we had by far the largest number, and at least I can remember in recent years, for new community initiatives. And they were quite varied from the community. So that was really exciting. And oh my God, quite a bit of work to review all 43 of them. But CAC members hung in there and got through. And so I'm going to turn it to Kisley so she can sort of give more information about which ones or where we are in the process of reviewing them. But the CAC as a group, each CAC member signed to review 10 to 13 of the initiatives, and then we decided to give just brief comments about each of the initiatives, and then we gave that information to RMHS, and so we're at the end of that part of the review process. But Kisley, would you share with us where we are now?
I'd love to. So we did complete a 3-tiered review process. The first tier being our internal proposal review team that consisted of mill levy team members along with subject matter experts, just depending on the proposal. And then from there, we did a review with our CAC team, and then from there we did an executive review. And so we have announced who we want to award the money to. And we're not prepared to share that out with this team today, just because we want to make sure that there's no crossover between IDEAS funding and RMHS funding. So once we are able to execute those contracts, I can't wait to share out all the great new organizations, as well as some great returning community initiatives that we look forward to partnering with in 2025. But thank you so much, Michelle, and to our CAC members, because it was not an easy feat, but we got there, and we're feeling really good about it. So thanks.
Hi all, this is Michaela real quick. Thank you so much, Michelle and Kisley, for that update. I'm know we're running a little bit behind, but I was wondering if either of you might be able to provide just a very 30-second high-level overview of what community initiatives are for folks on this meeting, especially members of the public who might not be familiar with that.
Absolutely. So the mill levy program at Rocky Mountain Human Services, we offer 3 access points to accessing funding for mill levy. And one of those access points is through our community initiative, which is essentially a request for proposals from our community to submit unique ideas and ways that we can expand mill levy dollars and create really a life that our folks, our community could be excited about. And so for 2024, we had some initiatives like Access Gallery, and TACT is some of our more common popular business organizations that we partner with. But for this year, we really wanted to expand that out and really just tap into some communities and different businesses and just really see how we could make Denver a more inclusive place for our community.
Thank you so much, Kisley and Michelle. And for those of you who are maybe new to IDEAS or the IDEAS mill levy program. So IDEAS, we are the program that manages the entire IDD mill levy tax fund in Denver. We contract with RMHS to provide lots of services to people with developmental delays and IDD in Denver in a variety of different ways. And as part of that contract, Rocky Mountain provides this community initiative programs where they subcontract out with other providers. So all of this is the same pot of money that Denver residents voted to tax on property to support our neighbors and family members with IDD and developmental delay. I know it gets a little bit confusing when we're thinking about all of the different ways that kind of money flows down and actually does the good work. So just wanted to provide an overview of that in case anyone had questions.
Okay, well, great. Thanks, everybody, for that report out. Our Community Advisory Council is a Rocky Mountain Human Services group that meets, and so every meeting we have updates from them. And now we will move on to our general council member updates. If people haven't noticed, they have changed the slides a little bit. I've tried to make them more accessible, which means less images, and so I know they perhaps look maybe, less fun without those images, but I'm hoping more readable for everybody. I have a few updates to give, but I want to open the floor to the council members first before I do that. I will just give a reminder, we are a little bit behind time. We should have plenty, but I'd like to make these updates as quickly as possible if we could. So Michelle, I'll turn it over to you to facilitate the updating.
Okay, so Corey, at this part, am I doing more than reading what's on our screen?
Yeah, honestly, if you read what's on the screen, that would be great. That is an
Okay.
accessible behavior. And then
Okay.
just give a little pause to invite people to give updates.
Perfect. So on the screen, it says council member updates. And this is the point where our council members get to share the updates from our community, and we try to narrow it to the updates that are related to Denver residents with IDD. So it could be anything from new laws or policies or programs that are happening, also events that are pertinent to the IDD community. And we try to be timely, so if we could keep the updates purely and directly related to the Denver community members and those with IDD or developmental delay. And we don't like shameful plugs, so we try to avoid advertising individual interests. So I'll just pause for any council member updates.
This is Brian. May I share one?
Yes, Brian, please.
Brian B., autistic artist advocate, and for 10 years I was a regular member of Spoke and Motion Dance Company. They do a lot in the dance world, and one thing they do in particular is include those with disabilities and without disabilities integrated to get together. I'm a huge proponent of the arts. I feel like the arts is like the quintessential accessibility tool. Like you don't have to have your PhD, you don't have to necessarily speak English as your first language. You know, it's just got a lot of components to it that I think are cool and that represent what community is. I have not been a part of this dance company for the last year. That's just how my life course has gone. But they have a dance show coming up this summer. So perhaps when that information is more like when there's a registration link or something, then I can share it. But it's a cool local group that I believe a lot in integrated dance. Pass.
Thank you, Brian. So I see in the chat, thank you, Kisley, thank you, Michaela, posted that there's a free self-care and resource fair supporting individuals with disabilities, Medicaid, and uninsured communities. And it's February the 22nd, and it's 10 to 2, and it's at the Cool Event Center in Aurora. So barring that, Corey, I think we can go to our next item of business.
Okay, real quick before we do, I'm trying to just get this done before 1:40. Just a few updates for council members. One is that I am just kind of revising a lot of our forms and publications and documents to make them more accessible. Hence the changes to the PowerPoint. They're minor changes with descriptors just to ensure that anybody can access them. These are posted publicly, and so I try to make sure that the text reads correctly for screen readers, that it's well contrasted for people who might have who might need that for sight, and then just more clear information so that while we're in meeting, we're understanding the information a little bit easier. That is going to also apply to a lot of our forms. We will, starting next month, need to collect forms again, including our conflicts of interest forms. Anything like media releases for those who haven't done those yet. Any W-9s for anybody who's going to have a stipend, as well as a stipend waiver form and all of that. So all those forms again. So fun stuff. I know everybody loves those, but trying to make sure that those are accessible for you all. And I'm always here for any council member that needs in-person meeting or anything like that to try to get those done. The W-9s and any other forms related to that kind of stuff, I can't change. And so those can be a little inaccessible, but I'm more than willing to come meet and get those filled out in person if that's what works for people. So just keep that in mind. We're going to have those coming up soon. I wanted to make sure I put that in y'all's ears ahead of time so that we can get those done as quickly as possible. In addition to that, we are moving along with a few things here. I just wanted to give people a very brief update on voices. Our review process is done with that, and so that's moving ahead as well. I won't say much more about that right now, but just I know that last time we met, it was 2 months ago. So just those will be coming out soon in terms of publicly sharing who's been awarded and all that for that, but that's been a very fun process, and that will also hopefully promote inclusion here in Denver. Michaela, I'll turn it over to you for now.
Hi there, super quick. This is Michaela Hennig again. We'll follow up with your council members via email, but just want to let you know that we'll be requesting some headshots for those of you who feel comfortable sharing them so that we can put those on our website and a report that we're hoping to publish in the coming months. In addition to a brief bio, just describing who you are, your professional background, your connection to this work. Again, we'll provide more instruction later in the email, but just wanted to let you all know that that's going to be coming. A request will be coming to you. Thank you so much.
This is Corey again. I am going to jump on one last thing because Michaela just reminded me of that. Yes, please send in your bios. We are going to update our website as well. And it actually already has been updated with new links for our public comment form. And so if anybody is sharing that out to any community members that they're inviting to our council, make sure you send out the most up-to-date information, which will be any recent agendas I've sent out, as well as our current website. You can go to denvergov.org/IDDEAS to see all of that great stuff. All right, why don't we head on next to the next agenda item, which will be the officer election. I plan for this to go until 2:10. That should give us 30 minutes to get this done. That being said, this has to be done. So this is our big thing to do today. I've got to have officers elected. I've got to know who's going to be running each meeting every time. Technically, our bylaws do have all of the, fallback wording that we need to keep going, even if we don't elect today. But really, we're not getting out of here until we do this. So let's do it. Let's please have this done by 3 at the latest. I'd like it done by 2:10 at the latest, really. But I'll go through this process. So we are going to elect 2 co-chairs. They help each other and lift the burden of facilitating meetings by supporting each other. And we also have Brian B. on hand, who will welcome and onboard those new co-chairs. He is going to be a great resource in helping that. He's also just a great resource on our council, and any council member is more than welcome to lift each other up and support each other as they get through all of our agendas and meetings and business. We also have a CAC member, which is that Community Advisory Council member. Michelle served in that role previously and gave that update today, along with Kisley, on what is going on at the RMHS Community Advisory Council. We have links in the PDF to the website for that, but they meet on, I'm forgetting the days that they meet now. Michelle, what days did they meet? My brain just kind of blanked at this moment.
It is the 3rd Tuesday of every month.
Great. Yeah,
And
so
it's from 4 to 6.
Wonderful. So 3rd Tuesday every month from 4 to 6. Those meetings are wonderful. The role of the CAC member on our team is to serve as a liaison between these 2 groups to avoid duplication of work, to give updates so that the folks over at RMHS know what we're talking about, what we're doing, and we over here know what RMHS is talking about, what we're doing, promoting friendly communication and collaboration between the 2 parties. That being said, any council member who previously served can serve again. If they are reelected, we have to do reelections every year. So if you have served previously as a CAC member, you can still serve as a CAC member this year, so long as you are nominated and elected. Same thing with the chair. We do have some limits on the chairs, though, in terms of how long you can do that. However, nobody is at that limit currently, so people could renominate themselves if they so chose. So starting with the co-chairs, we have 2, as I said. Co-chairs preside at meetings of the council. They represent the council in their capacities as officer of the council. They facilitate consensus building activities around topics central to the purpose of the council. They ensure that members of the council, in collaboration with Denver Human Services, are engaging the community to solicit feedback on a regular basis, and they fully participate in planning activities alongside the DHS staff liaison as requested. You can be re-nominated and you can nominate yourself. I wanted to read all that. I know it's a little technical. In summary, what a chair does is they help to design the agendas. We go over the agendas usually about once a week before a meeting. We check them over, talk about it, make sure it makes sense and feels good to lead it. And then the chairs will then go through that agenda. They call for motions and call for the meeting to start. Whenever there's a public vote going on, they'll call for that, get a motion, and then track the votes in the chat. I also help tracking the votes because I have to record that. And then they make sure to keep everybody on topic and on time. It's generally that. They're also welcome to help out with other things such as planning community meetings and offering feedback or other agenda setting items like that. So with that in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the chairs. I'm going to ask for nominations. You can nominate yourself or you can nominate another voting member. Once I hear those nominations, I will be writing them down. I've got a pen and paper here. I will then move to votes after nominations, and in the order that I hear the nominations, we will vote on them. As soon as we have a majority vote, we elect that person and we are done voting, even if there are other nominations. I'm going to give it an example. Let's say I am nominated as co-chair. I've nominated myself. Somebody else, Barney, has been nominated as well. As we vote, we have 6 voting members on today. I receive 5 yes votes as co-chair. Boom, that is done. I am elected. We move on, even though Barney did not get votes. Okay. Now remember, we have 2 positions. Please only vote for one. So we'll take nominations, we'll vote. I will take nominations again just in case during that second one, but please only vote for, out of everybody that you hear, and I'll repeat them. Out of everybody you hear, please vote for the person that you think should be chair the most, and then don't vote for the next person if you voted for the last person. That just helps keep it easy. If people are getting multiple votes from multiple people, then we can have a lot of weird numbers that don't quite add up. It's majority rules, so we're going to do it like that. All right. And then I'm also going to offer up the floor just a little bit before I take nominations, just in case anybody has anything they want to say or ask any more questions about the roles of the chairs or anything like that. I'll also let Michaela talk.
That was an awesome overview, Corey. Thank you. Just one procedural clarification question for you. So you said only vote once. So let's say 2 people are nominated to serve co-chair and you want to vote for both of them. We're only going to vote we're still going to vote for only one of them first round. And then you can vote for the second one first round.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is
Okay.
correct. I appreciate clarifying questions like that. Thank you.
Cool.
I hope that makes sense for
Thank you.
everybody. Does anybody at this time have any questions or anything else they want to say before we get to nominations? Okay, wonderful. I will take that silence as everybody knows how this is going to go. And so at this time, I would ask people to either in the chat or to come off of mute in whichever order they desire, and then either nominate somebody on the council or themselves as for the position of co-chair. We are starting with the first co-chair.
This is Alexa Gagne. I would like to nominate Michelle for a co-chair. She's doing a great job already.
Brian, I'm sorry. Corey, this is Stephanie speaking. May I ask you a quick question about the remaining 4 seats and how that might influence the vote today? Didn't we have this problem last year where maybe we had to wait a moment to see if someone else wanted to be a co-chair?
I appreciate that question. That's actually a great question, Stephanie. So this is y'all's council. This is a council by y'all. I'm really just here to relay what the bylaws say and help facilitate voting. And I say that because if you wanted to make the point, Stephanie, that we could elect an officer for a shortened term or anything like that, we could do that. It is your council. And so we can structure it how we want. Now, the bylaws do stipulate that a term for the co-chairs is 1 year.
Right.
But you could vote if there was ever a worry that we're going to get 4 new members and we would like them to weigh in to this year's officers, we could do that. Now, that being said, I would recommend right now that we vote, just standard voting as we normally do. Under the understanding, I'll get into recruitment later today, but I don't think that we'll be onboarding anybody until like June. Yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
it'll be like a good few months before we get those 4 people. It won't be like next month. If it was next month, I would probably bring that up with y'all and kind of say like, well, maybe we want to wait. Um, but no, that's actually a super super wonderful question. It was something I was thinking about before this too. We have 4 open seats. We hope to recruit all 4 seats. One thing is I can't guarantee that we'll get all 4 people.
Sure.
And another is it won't be until June until they're fully onboarded and ready to participate because we got to do the recruitment. Then we also I got to do orientation with them, get the form signed, all the
Yeah,
all the fun
not a
stuff.
problem. I just wanted to make sure all voices were nothing about me without me and
Yeah,
considered, but I truly understand where you're coming from. So I second the motion for Michelle and or Brian or Molly or Alexa or anyone.
are those all nominations? I can write
Those
them
are all
down.
nominations.
Okay, all right, all right. I will. Can you repeat it in the order that I hear it?
Yes, I second it for Michelle. However, I do want to lift up that Molly is a fabulous, fabulous leader in SSN education. So I think she brings a great energy to the space. And Brian is an advocate, and I know he does work. So I second him. Alexa, I can tell that you're cool. And Chris, I think you would be great too. Did I forget anyone? I'm just going off of memory.
You can always nominate yourself. You're in the running too.
No, I intentionally did not, but thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Corey, this is
Yes.
Michelle. I have a
Yep.
question.
Go ahead.
Um, what's the process if I don't want to run for, even though Alexa uh, nominated me? What?
Great question, Michelle. These are all. I love you. You're all really having such wonderful questions. And I should have stated this probably up front as well. If you receive a nomination, but you can't fulfill the duties of that officer position, you're welcome to say that. You are welcome to graciously thank whoever nominated you, appreciate the nomination, all that, stay respectful, professional, and just say, I am unable. And you don't have to give the reasons, by all means, you don't need to share private information or anything like that. But you can say, I'll have to decline at this time. Thanks, but no thanks. And it's totally welcome to do that. So anybody is welcome to do that at this time. And what I'll do is if I hear any denials like that, I'll strike you from the nominations and I'll just confirm with you before I do to make sure that that's auditorially recorded. So Michelle, are you formally denying your nomination?
I'm still thinking about it, but I'd like to make my nomination.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to nominate Brian B. to return to the co-chair chair.
Recorded. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nominated names. Oh, I see a hand. Go ahead, Molly.
I would like to respectfully decline the nomination. I am going to nominate myself for the next position available, so that's why, but thank you.
Wonderful. So Molly, just to confirm, you have declined your nomination.
Yes.
Okay, I have removed you from the nomination list. So now I have 4 names. Is there anybody else that would like to decline their nomination before we get to voting?
Corey, Chris wrote in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, let me. So Chris has said in the chat, and I will post this in for everybody, that he is also declining his nomination. Wonderful. I appreciate the respectful process from everybody. Nice job. Okay, so Chris, I have stricken you from the nominations. I now have 3 names. Anybody else?
This is Alexa. I would also like to respectfully decline and possibly look at a different position.
Okay. Alexa, I just want to clarify with you. I am going to remove your name from the nominations for co-chair.
Correct.
All right. Well then, we are down to 2 names. Now, I'll say this as well. We do have to elect officers. We do have to elect co-chairs especially. And the CAC member is also pretty equally important. So everybody is totally welcome to decline. If we ever get to the point where all nominations have been declined, what I will do is I will reopen those nominations so that we have at least one, and then we'll go from there. This is my way of saying we got to do it, and I'm going to be as nice as I can about it by all means. But we got to have co-chairs, and so just making that clear for now. So far we have 2 names, and so everybody who has formally declined that's totally fine. And I don't want anybody to ever feel pressured into a position, but at the same time, in order to get this business going, y'all don't want me running the meetings all the time. I'm not a council member. Technically, I'm not a voting community member. We want these meetings run by community members for community members, and so we need to have co-chairs kind of in these roles doing all these things, who are representatives of our communities. So that being said, I've got 2 names. I'm going to tentatively move on to voting. So the names that I have for nomination include Michelle Dumais and Brian B. We will start with voting for Michelle first before moving to Brian. And as a reminder, if Michelle receives majority vote, then we will not vote for Brian, and I will go on to that second co-chair. Now, Brian can be nominated again for that next co-chair, but once we get a majority vote, we simply do it. And to reiterate what Jordan Humphreys just said in the chat, it really is good for your resume to say that you chaired this, that you're a leader of a community advocacy group, and it's not hard. I do my best to try to make it accessible, but you're also welcome to tell me how to do better at that. So you really get the power, you get the control in your hands, and we try to work with you, to make this as easy as possible to become a chair. Go ahead, Brian. You want to?
Yeah, I want to riff off of what you're saying. First, welcome to all who are watching this recorded later, who are watching live, voting members and community. That's what the essence of this group is. And I just want to highlight or magnify or support what Corey just said, that if we see something that can be improved, Denver Human Services, Department of Human Services is open to do that. It doesn't happen in a month, usually. It usually doesn't happen in 2 months, but I have seen it happen. And I just want to honor that because that's not the case in a lot of other places. So thank you for those of you who are considering stepping up, having a voice and sharing your voice in whatever way, in the chat, watching the recording later, or voting now, or coming back, just visiting again. Thank you. Thank you for your voice and helping to contribute to what we can do, what's reasonable to improve. Pass.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Brian. And as a reminder, Brian has offered to be sort of an onboarding person for like a welcomer for co-chairs, being that he has experience and he is very much an advocate for all of you and wants to help all of you step into places of discomfort, but in a fun way. So, and I can definitely advocate for his ability to do that. He's a wonderful advocate for everyone. So, anyways, let's get on to the voting. So, first nomination is Michelle Dumais. At this time, I would like to call people to write yes or no into the chat with a reminder that majority votes will elect the co-chair position. So first vote for Michelle Dumais. Okay. I have recorded 5 votes, which is a majority vote. Thank you all so much. Michelle, congratulations. You've been elected as co-chair.
Well, as my first act of business, I'm gonna do something with food. I'll just figure it out.
Okay. I appreciate that. And that is something fun. Honestly, I think you'll be
Thank you.
great at helping us break bread with each other.
Thank you so much, Alexa, for pushing me. And thank you to the council and all the other members for agreeing. I'm sure it's because you know I want to do food and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Food is the founder of society, so great. Okay, that is our first officer position elected. At this point, I will again call for nominations for the second co-chair positions. Anybody who was previously nominated can be nominated again. However, to make things somewhat quicker, I'd like folks to keep in mind those who might have declined the chair position and therefore may not accept it the second time around. If anybody's changed their mind since we've been talking, though, you are welcome to say that and say, I would actually like to do the chair position now that we've seen how that all goes. So opening second chair position nominations now. Go ahead, Molly.
I wonder, Corey, if it would be possible, reasonable to move to the other position, and then maybe some other people would be willing to nominate. Like, I would be interested, but I don't know how to best to phrase it. But if that would make sense, depending on where people are at, if there are no other self-nominations for this, for the co-chair.
That
Just
is
curiosity, just wondering if that would make.
a wonderful recommendation, and I see no reason not to move forward with that. Michelle, as you are serving as our current temporary chair for today, would you like to make a motion to pause the nomination for second co-chair, which I've already called for, and instead move to nomination for the CAC member?
Okay, I'd like to make the motion that we do the other position. And then come back to the other co-chair.
Wonderful. Go ahead, Brian.
Brian B. I second that motion.
I knew it was coming as soon as I saw the hand up. I'm going to take that as I want to give that power to y'all as opposed to me just being like, yep, okay, let's do it. So that's why I do those kinds of things. I know it's a little wonky in terms of structure, but I'm really trying to make sure that council members have more power than me in this forum. So with that seconded motion to move on to the CAC member and then return to the co-chair election, we will move on to the Community Advisory Council member. So as I kind of described before, the Community Advisory Council member is our other officer position. Chairs can serve as a Community Advisory Council member. I want to make that clear. That is stated specifically in the bylaws. So these are held on the third Thursday each month, as was already mentioned, but the Community Advisory Council member would be expected to attend the CAC meetings at RMHS to represent the IDDEAS Advisory Council and promote collaboration and communication between our two groups through share outs on updates and participation in their meetings as they structure them. And so at this point, I will take nominations for our 2025 Community Advisory Council member.
I would like to nominate myself for the CAC member.
I hear one nomination for Molly. That was Molly, correct?
Sorry, yes, Molly Mason.
Thank you. Okay. Hearing no more nominations, last chance, last call. Does anybody else? It sounded like a lot of people wanted to do this a second ago. Does anybody else want to nominate themselves for CAC member?
So Corey, this is Michelle. I I'd like to make a statement, and I'd like to say that the CAC is serving on the CAC is really a joy, and I think that I have enjoyed it for the time that I've been on it. However, now that we've completed the bulk of the work, I'd like to see if Alexa would like to serve, and so I'd like to nominate Alexa, hoping that she won't decline and that she will serve. And not that Molly would not be wonderful or anyone else would not be wonderful, but I did hear you sort of raise your voice a few moments ago, so I'll raise it a little bit higher, and if I was wrong, then please feel free to decline.
Thank you, Michelle. I definitely appreciate that. I think I'm forgetting what the other positions are. Is it this and the co-chair, or are they other ones? If you could clarify that. I'm sorry, I know you've
Yeah.
emailed that out, but
No. Fair question. So it really is, yeah, this and the co-chairs. We really only have three officer positions. We haven't really structured any other formal roles by any means. So it's, yeah.
That's fair. Thank you very much, Corey. And yeah, I guess maybe one other question, maybe more for you, Corey, is there any type of conflict of interest on my part, as I have a daughter that uses RMHS services?
I would say no. No more than the standard level of conflict of interest that we record and publicize when we join the advisory council. So for everybody to know here, the IDEAS Milevy does fund the Milevy services over at RMHS, and so a few of our council members may have a direct link to them in terms of supporting or caring for people who receive services through them. This is expected and this is standard. We declare these interests by writing them on a form and documenting them. And we make no effort to hide that or anything like that. In terms of serving as a community advisory council member, there would be no conflict of interest from just serving in that role. If there was ever a time, though, that you were discussing something that might have direct effect on you in terms of financial benefit or anything like that, then you are welcome to confer with us, with myself or Jordan Humphreys, who is very, very well versed in legal code and very good at this, and we can help you work through that to identify if there is a conflict of interest and then how you should proceed. And then we can recuse that and publicly state what that conflict of interest might be and why we're recusing ourselves from a certain discussion. So therefore, that being said, there is no worry for anybody on this council currently to have any conflict of interest that would preclude them from serving as a community advisory council member. Go ahead there, Michaela.
Yeah, and I didn't invite Michelle or Kisley to expand on this as members of the RMHS CAC. But I believe that many of the CAC members at RMHS are either parents of individuals with IDD receiving services or receiving services themselves. But of course, would welcome Kisley and Michelle to expand on that as needed. Also wanted to let you know, Alexa, and this might be a little bit confusing, there are additional roles of secretary. That's filled by the DHS liaison, so that's Corey. They're non-voting. Their job is to kind of just administer the meetings like you've seen. And then we also see the RMHS liaison, which is Kisley. And she's also a non-voting member, but her job, and similar to the CAC member, which is voting, her position is non-voting, is to just create that communication between the two.
Yes, I just put this in the chat, but this is Corey speaking. Just to make sure we're clear about that. Those two additional roles are not officer positions that we elect.
Correct.
Those are simply sourced by natural roles, either through the IDDEAS program or through Rocky Mountain Human Services.
Thanks, Corey, for that clarification. Yeah, not elected, not voting.
This is Alexa. Thank you so much for clarifying that, Corey and Michaela. And I think, yes, Michelle, I wanted to thank you again for the nomination. And I will respectfully decline, I think just due to the time that I'm seeing the meeting may not 100% work for me. So I do really appreciate that, but I think I will go ahead and respectfully decline.
Thank you, Alexa. Just to clarify, you are declining the position for the CAC member.
Yes.
Right. I have taken you off of the nomination list. All right, final call for nominations then, and then we will go to voting.
Sorry, Corey, can I make one point or one question? Just for
Sure.
Alexa for that reason. Because Michelle, I believe you said it was the third Tuesday of the month. And looking at the website on the RMHS CAC, it's the third Tuesday of the month at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Michelle can confirm or okay,
Yes.
just to update that. So I don't know, Alexa, if that impacts, but just to do that.
Okay. Sorry, I probably have some misinformation on mine. So just to clarify and repeat once more, it is the third Tuesday at 4, not the third Thursday at 3:30, correct?
Bisley, I think that's right. Isn't that correct? The third Tuesday?
Sorry, I believe that is, I couldn't get my mouse to work. This is Kisley. I do believe that is correct, that it is the third Tuesday. I am checking the calendar to make sure.
I wonder then what I did here.
But I could, let's see, hold on, let's see. We kind of got off our cadence with this last series, and so I got a little confused too, but yes, it looks like it's going to be every third Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I apologize for the incorrect information on the PowerPoint then. And I'm looking at the website right now using the link on this slide, and it does say 4 p.m. on the third Tuesday of each month, with public comment open at 5 p.m. So I'm not sure what I did there, but clearly I put the wrong stuff in. So final clarification on that for the CAC member and anybody interested in it, they meet on the third Tuesday each month at 4 p.m.
It's Michaela once again. Kisley, can we just verify too that the meetings are both in person and virtually. Does that
Right.
mean that CAC attendees can choose whatever works best for them, or are there some meetings that are required in-person attendance?
We haven't required any in-person attendance. We kind of leave it up to the CAC and let the CAC kind of decide what works best for the team. But yeah, we'll always offer a hybrid just to make it flexible for everyone.
Thank you.
But if you want that good food, folks, sometimes you got to show up. So you can show out, and that's usually, but Kisley, remind me, isn't it usually that we just have two that per year that we really try to meet and eat? But other than that, and even that meet and eat meeting is still a hybrid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is Alexa again. Thank you again for clarifying all the details. And I am always about the food, but I will stand with the decline for now at this time. Thank you.
Go ahead, Brian. Once Brian speaks, I think I will move over to the nominations and voting.
Brian B., I had the privilege to visit the Community Advisory Council once and see Michelle in action and see the other parents and advocates and of course the staff. And I can vouch that the food is good and the hugs in person are as good or better than the ones online. Pass.
Wonderful. Okay. I appreciate the support for everyone here. I think this very much embodies the ground rules of respectful communication with everyone. So thank you all for bearing with me through this and making this a less boring process. I'm going to move on to voting for our one nomination now. So I've received a nomination of Molly Mason for the Community Advisory Council member. Can I get votes in the chat to yes or no for Molly Mason's election to CAC member? Okay. I see 4 yes votes in the chat, which is a majority vote. Molly, congratulations. Oh, I see 5 yes votes in the chat, which is more than a majority votes. Molly, congratulations. You have been elected for 2025's role of the Community Advisory Council member. Appreciate that. Stephanie, thank you so much for attending. To answer your question, it will not currently, as much as we will miss your participation in your voting, you will simply just not have the opportunity to vote for our next council member if you've got to jump. So, but thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for helping elect and also asking great questions. Wonderful. Okay, with that order of business being done, I think we're due for a break. So I'm going to get on to that next nomination so that hopefully we can get this through generally quickly. So we're going to go back to the co-chairs as we had moved to before. We need one more co-chair officer position elected. Do I hear any nominations for our second co-chair position?
This is Michelle Dumais. I'm going to nominate Brian B. for the co-chair position.
Wonderful. I hear a nomination for Brian B. I am not hearing any nominations for any other names. Last chance for nominations, and I will move to voting. I see a raised hand. Go ahead, Brian.
Brian B., and I just want to say that the leadership to serve as the co-chair is pretty cool beans. So I will not feel slighted if somebody wants to run against me. That's just we're familiar with that term in politics, but that's not how it is here. Like, we're community. And I will help you and others will help you. So if you want to lead, step into your power. This is a space. Pass.
Okay. I will give about 5 long seconds for people to consider Brian's words and consider a nomination. Okay. Well, with that, I hear one nomination for Brian B. as in the role of our second co-chair position. With that, I will take yes votes in the chat with a majority of yeses electing Brian. Great. Well, with 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attending members, that is a majority. So Brian, congratulations. This will be your second year as co-chair.
Woo woo. All right.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Wonderful. Well, at this time, we have done it. We've done the main thing we've set out to do. We have elected our officers. Michelle Dumais and Brian B. now will facilitate our meetings and help our council communicate and collaborate with each other and our community as co-chairs. And Molly Mason will serve as the Community Advisory Council member, attending the RMHS Community Advisory Council meetings and helping to collaborate and communicate between those two groups. Thank you all so much for doing that. I know it's kind of drier stuff, but it's stuff we got to do. I appreciate it, and you did make it all fun. With that being said, I think now is a great time for a break. So it's 2:22. Why don't we come back at 2:27? Get yourself some water, do some breathing, do some stretching, whatever you need to do. Reground yourself, and then we'll get back to the work.
But before we do that, can we get a virtual applause or some jazz hands for Corey? Because that was some excellent work there. Super grateful for you. Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, I
See y'all,
appreciate
see y'all in a bit. Bye.
it. Okay, hi everyone. It is 2:27. I'd like to call folks back. Try to do that gently in case you were meditating or anything like that. And then we'll get underway with the rest of our agenda. Okay. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us at the IDEAS Advisory Council public meeting. The next agenda item that we have is 2025 scheduling. Now, this is something else that we like to make sure that we do at the head of the year. All of our meetings need to be publicly posted and scheduled at least 48 hours before the meeting. We like to do that at least a week before the meeting, with any noted changes also published before that. And so it helps to have the schedule out a year in advance. That way, well, many months in advance for the rest of the year. That way, as we reschedule or anything like that, we have plenty of time to alert the public to the change in time or venue or anything like that. We have to be in compliance with the Denver Code of Ethics. We have to announce any change in our venue or location of meeting, which would be just us, changing from virtual to in person or anything like that, or the time of the meeting, at least 48 hours in advance. If we ever don't do that, then we can't meet and we can't conduct public business. So it's important that we do that, and it's really helpful to have that schedule out ahead of time. Plus, it helps us get organized and plan our time better with each other. So what I propose go ahead there, Brian.
Hey, thanks, Corey. I wanted to add to what you just said. We're doing a lot of things to make it accessible. Even though the requirements are 2 days in advance, we like to bump that to a week in advance. And many of the things that we're doing it to make this more accessible to community, to lay people, to ones with IDD and their allies and supporters, sometimes has the opposite result. We're aware of that. For example, to have a safe space for this meeting, you have to register for the Zoom link in advance, and individuals have to do that. In creating that safe space, it creates, I don't know, some of you, maybe you feel a little frustrated. Which calendar invite is it? Which Zoom link is it? I already registered. How come I can't find it? Zoom wants me to update. I don't know how to change the chat setting. Thank you for your own resiliency. Thank you for your own personal wellness. To try to come here and be hydrated, have a meal, or snack during if you need to. Because engaging this process, we, the council or Department of Human Services, do our best to make it reasonable, but sometimes there's just some parts that are hard. So thank you for sticking through some of the parts, and then bringing it back up again a few months later if what you brought up did not get resolved. Pass.
Wonderful. This is Corey speaking again. Thank you so much, Brian. I think that is a great reminder for everyone. We truly do our best to try to make this as accessible as possible, as well as safe as possible. We want to create a safe space. So with that being said, I think it helps to have the schedule laid out beforehand. Currently, our schedule is the final Tuesday of the month from 1 to 3. My proposition for the council, and the council can discuss and decide this because it is your time and your space, is that we keep that schedule and we do it once a month from 1 to 3 virtually. I'm going to open the floor at this time for anybody to challenge that proposed schedule, to offer alternatives, and to discuss anything else after we talk about that, such as scheduling additional community non-business meetings and meeting in the with partners or other friends in the community. One final note I do want to make is that we are required to meet at least 4 times a year. So any proposed alternative schedules or anything like that, that's in our bylaws. We've got to meet at least 4 times a year. And so it would be best to do that across the year. I do think that right now we have enough time, enough agenda items in the future that meeting monthly is the more recommended option. But again, it is the council's decision to make, and I'd like to open the floor for anybody to discuss potential scheduling for 2025.
So this is Michelle. I'd like to maybe discuss or propose, maybe even motion, I'm not sure at this point, but I'd like really that one of those meetings be able to be hybrid. That would offer us the opportunity to hug, hold, and uplift each other in the same space that we're having the meeting. And I can tell you, as much as I joke about food, and I am a foodie, but I can tell you that when we were having a meeting and Brian said, "Oh, just give me a minute," and he popped into the meeting. It's very impactful to be in a room with people that you're working with. And while it may not be convenient to have every meeting in person, I really would like for us to think about having at least one of the meetings, the monthly meetings, in person or hybrid.
This is Alexa. I fully agree with that. I think at least one, if not 2 optionals would be wonderful. I also just wanted to ask one other question, because this time does work for me. I can make generally most times work. Is there a thought process on not having it over a lunch hour, like was 12 to 2 proposed previously and maybe didn't work? Just wanted to kind of throw that maybe up for quick discussion or question on historical purposes from y'all's point of view.
Sure, this is Corey speaking. I can respond to that very briefly. There's not much historical context to give other than that we have had conversation about this before. It was proposed to potentially go into the lunch hour or even start in the morning and go into the lunch hour. However, just after discussion, it seemed preference by a majority of the council to keep it as 1 to 3, and it's been that way for a few years now. And so I think right now, with just people's schedules and stuff, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but the time's already carved out, and so it just already has a space, and so it works, kind of thing. But I know it's when it comes to scheduling, everybody always has a different thing going on at a different time and all that. And so while some people might have liked a lunch hour, I think some people also couldn't do a lunch hour or didn't really have a lunch hour that was any different than their normal working hours. So that's really it. There is that it's just been discussed before, and 1 to 3 was the more favored option.
Thank you, Corey. That's super helpful. I don't know if you need like a second yet or an approval, but let us know or how the vote.
Yeah. So to clarify on that, right now we're just kind of discussing it. Michelle brought up the point that she would request that perhaps at least one meeting be hybrid, and Alexa agreed with that and maybe offered maybe 1 to 2 be hybrid. And so far, that is where we're at with the discussion. And so, to offer a little guidance here, I'm just kind of opening the floor, letting council members discuss among themselves whether this time works, alternative times works, throw things at each other and see if it works. Once that discussion's been had, then I'm going to say by 2:40, we will decide if 1 to 3 is cool, and if I will make that the schedule for 2025 the rest of the year. Note that we typically don't meet in December, and so I wouldn't put that on people's calendars for now.
Do we meet in July, Corey?
Yes, we have historically, but again, we only need to meet 4 times a year. So
Okay.
if for any reason all of the council members are like, let's not meet July, that's up for y'all to decide.
This is Michaela. I think if memory serves me correctly, we met in July last year, 2024, but we took a summer vacation, so to speak, in 2023. So yeah, just to echo Corey, it's really up to you all. If there's something pressing, we'll let you know if we need to bring something to you. And we might, try and work something in if there's something that comes up that we can't anticipate, but otherwise we'll really follow your guide, your lead.
Yeah, Brian.
Brian B., I just want to thank you once again for the consideration of changes. I have been at the facilitator end of hybrid meetings. It's a lot. So thank you, Michaela, when you say, hey, it's y'all's thing. What do you want to do? Let us know and we'll try to support you, because I know that means quite a bit at the facilitator or the host or the tech and as well as the moderators, which would be Michelle and I now, the co-chairs, in concert with when we have guest speakers or Corey doing some of the administrative stuff, or sometimes other people from Department of Human Services come and visit and they say hi. And I think the group could hold this now. I think we could, I just ask that you plug in those resiliency skills, stay hydrated, get some rest, and don't expect perfection of yourself or our fellows, because it'll have some whoop-wahs about it, but might be worth it. Pass. Write that down. That's whoop-wahs. Make a note of that.
Jordan's
Yeah.
taking minutes. You got that, Jordan?
I'm glad to be at this juncture too, because last year there's more than 2 W's in it. I'll help you with that one, Michelle. Last year and the year before, we were saying, why don't we get in person? And we didn't come up with a way to do that for official business. What we did was we came up with a way to do it for unofficial business, where we cannot and do not conduct official council business, but we just get together to be like, what's up, and have a drink of kombucha or beer, or because you can do that when it's not official business, right? Or pizza, or music, or just whatever. But I think it'd be great if we could do the informal, the more social, the community, and a little bit of official business as well. Yes. Jordan Humphreys, come on in.
Sure. Just Michaela, I don't know, but you're kind of at the top of the pyramid here. What limitations are there? So, for example, is there a budget? Can we rent space? Can we buy food? Can we do things to make these meetings more accessible within the community at times different than what we've been doing? And I just want to put it out there for informational purposes. What y'all do with it is up to you, but I've long advocated, as Brian pointed out, that we need to be doing this in the community. It doesn't need to always be a business meeting. It needs to be an engagement meeting, at least a couple times a year, I would hope, where we're not having to vote on minutes and all the other funny stuff we get to do, but where we really just engage with the public and say, where's the needs? What are your ideas? Who are your resources? What are we missing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that we'd love to kind of listen to y'all and see what your thoughts are and talk talk about how we can support that. I can't buy beer. I'm pretty sure the city's made that pretty clear. But
I
probably
quit.
can buy you some pizzas. So yeah, we'd love to talk about that. I think, Corey, let me know what your thoughts are, or Michelle and Brian. I think we can definitely move forward with supporting at least a couple hybrid meetings. For right now, I think what we just need to figure out is setting that monthly cadence in advance that's kind of for the time and date and day of the week. If there's any other kind of considerations around that in terms of folks wanting to look at a different day of the week or a different time, you know, if now's the time to kind of air that, else we will probably lock this in, and that will be our regular unless we need to work around it for whatever reason.
Yeah, this is Corey speaking. Thank you, Michaela. Yes. At this point, so I've heard everybody. I've been taking notes on what everybody's saying here. It doesn't show my paper. So the proposal and the request to meet in person is well heard. That being said, it is 2:43 at this time. I would like to hear a motion and a second to that motion to keep meetings scheduled for 1 to 3 on the final Tuesday of the month. I can work to get things to be hybrid and in person at different times. I would likely look to a time when there's no ice on the ground to try to get those going. And so we can do that, especially if the request is just 2, right? Just to start, just 2. I think we can do that. But for now, is there a motion and a second to that motion for keeping our schedule the final Tuesday of the month from 1 to 3?
This is Molly. I motion to keep the schedule 1 to 3, final Tuesday of the month.
This is Alexa, and I second that motion.
Okay, thank you. As a secretary, I've heard that we are going to keep that. I will schedule that out. I will put an invite on people's Outlook calendars for the council members, but then I'll also make sure that our website has that posted for the public to know with a new registration link. And so I want to make that clear. The old registration link will no longer work. You will need to use a new registration link, and you will still need to register for each individual meeting, just like we did last year. And I'm just making sure I reiterate this for our meeting minutes. We are requesting that at least 1, possibly 2 meetings be investigated to be held hybrid, and I will work to do that. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey folks, Brian B., 2025 co-chair of IDEAS Advisory Council. I'm a researcher, and one of the things that researchers do is they need to know when they go to research something, what they're missing. They do their best to know what they're missing. And then when we report it, it's called our limitations. So we know we're asking these people, but we know we didn't ask these other people, and there might be other people we didn't ask. So I want to acknowledge a limitation here. The people who would love for this meeting to be on a different day besides Tuesday from 1 to 3 may not be here now. So let's retain a flexible spirit, even though we've just set for 2025. Corey, thank you for administrating. There's so much involved there. And so thank you for doing your best to make it clear for us. And let's just hold that flexible spirit, because as Stephanie was talking about earlier, we might be onboarding up to 4 people, and they may need a different day and a different time. So maybe we'll do one of these hybrids on a different day and a different time. Maybe we'll do more than one on a different day and different time, and just kind of see how we go. But it does need set. And so thank you for setting it. I just ask that we both set it and stay open. Let's see how life unfolds. Pass.
This is Corey speaking. Wonderfully said, Brian. Appreciate you so much. A reminder that this is y'all's council. I am only here in the capacity to help facilitate and ensure that the business continues. But y'all are here to actually do the business. And so if that means changing schedules and rescheduling meetings, well, then I'm more than willing to work with you to do that. So just always keep that in mind. When I ask for things like let's get this set, that doesn't mean it's set in stone forever for the rest of our lives. It's fully open to be changed, and we can get wonky with it. So by all means, reach out to me and say like, hey, I've got an idea. Let's do this. Let's do something different. And that even includes our agendas. As we go through different agendas, as I send those out, and you want to put something on to the agenda or talk about something different, then the chairs and you can work with yourselves to do that. My agenda is not set in stone. I will say I do intentionally make those. And so the business that we try to work on is very important. But at the same time, if there's ever a time where we're like, you know what, we're going to change up next month's meeting and we're going to go somewhere else and do something different, that's for y'all to do because this is a community meeting. Therefore, should be led by the community, not by me. All right. Well, with that said, thank you for all doing that. That is 2 orders of business done, and I'm so happy that we got those. I'm going to go over recruitment a little bit here for these last few minutes. I'm going to try to kind of make this quick, unfortunately, but there's a lot to be said about it. Now, just a very, very quick review on this. Last year, we recruited 3 new members through our strategy, which included broad advertisement and the use of our known networks. I went out and put out physical flyers in a lot of different public spaces. We blasted a lot of things on social media and through our email list. And we asked other council members as well as other people that we knew to advertise this. And we got people through those means. Now, that with people terming off, our friends that left us last year, as well as some people who went on different things, we have 4 open seats. And so coming this month, we are going to publicize and open up our recruitment, which means putting out our application form out for people to use. But most of our work is going to be intentional. We're going to outreach to community leaders, advocates, known network people to then help recruit for specific groups to improve the diversity of our council per our commitment in our bylaws. And if you're looking on the screen now, we are looking to intentionally outreach to underrepresented communities, which include BIPOC, especially people who are Hispanic and Latino identifying, LGBTQIA+, children and youth 3 to 17, will be represented by parents and caregivers or professionals, because we're not going to have any 5-year-olds on our council. And then adults over age 60, which also could be represented by professionals, male identifying individuals, and residents of city council districts 1, 2, 3, 4, not 4, sorry, 5, and 9. All of those have been selected through analyzing what known statistics that I have for the council for people who have reported different demographic statistics about themselves, as well as statistics for people who are service recipients of IDD related services here in Denver. And so currently these groups are generally underrepresented on our council. And so we want to make sure that we have their voices included so they can tell us about their experiences as a member of the Denver community, as a member of the community who has or supports people with IDD and who receive services. With that being said, that is a general background, very, very quick overview of things. There's more to it than that, but that's a general quick overview. I want to invite the council members to be involved. Now, I would love for council members to share this with their known networks. That's kind of my baseline. I would also really invite council members to identify their networks, people they know, families, other caregivers, whoever they might know, to then advertise this and go out and do that intentional outreach, which for us kind of means relationship building. This means going out and talking to folks, maybe grabbing a coffee with them or doing whatever it is, and letting them know, hey, here's what the council is. Here's who we are. We are looking for these folks. Do you know of anybody who would be interested? That way we can really, really target who we want to fill these last 4 seats, because there's only 11 seats total and a lot of people in Denver to try to help represent. And so we want to be intentional about it. That being said, I want to invite a discussion very quickly. I guess a 4-minute discussion, which really isn't enough for this. So we can revisit this again. But how do y'all want to be involved with this recruitment? Could you go to the next slide there, Lynn? I just have 4 base questions to kind of spur conversation on this, but I want to open up to you, and I would really love for your involvement and engagement this time around. how can the council members be involved in planning, and outreach and recruitment, and interviewing, or other ways that I might not even just be thinking about? I'm going to open this floor for you all now to discuss.
This is Alexis speaking. I think this sounds great, and I would definitely be interested in getting involved with pieces of this. Since I, am new to the council, I believe I received an email. I think it was through an email that I heard about the council. So I don't know that I have any new ways off the top of my head, but I would definitely be interested in some of the outreach and recruitment pieces moving forward. And sorry, one question, maybe clarifying what the time frame is. Like, is that something that starts immediately and they need to be in place by a certain time, or is it the whole year, or what does that part look like?
That is a wonderful question. Now, so I'm going to respond directly to it. I'm trying to move a little quickly through this, so I apologize for leaving out those types of details. But to answer your question, yeah, so we plan to kind of start with some of the outreach has already started, and we plan to continue that throughout the month of February, all the way up to April, actually. Now, we, as Jordan says, their start immediately never ends. I think that it's actually a pretty good thing to keep in the back of mind as we go through it. I would really like though to have interviews fully completed, recommendations made to our executive director, and appointment letters given by June, so that orientation can happen before then, and people can be ready to go. That way they have a whole half a year to kind of get going. We have a lot of staggered terms, and it would just be best to do that. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that we can't move some of those dates either sooner or later, but that's what we're shooting for right now, which means that our recruitment period, our outreach period, should probably go up until April. That way we can schedule interviews throughout April and May, and then June we'll hopefully have folks ready to go through orientation. For our 3 new members, I think y'all offer a pretty good look to what recruitment looked like last year. You can offer a lot of insight as to how you even learned about the council, things like that, as well as what worked, what didn't work, what you'd like to see better. And so I'm open for y'all to chime in on that, as well as any of our council members who have been here older to chime in too on your own thoughts and things. So it being 2:55 though, that's a bit of a bigger conversation than I can do. So what I think I'm going to do is put this on next month's agenda to talk a little bit more in depth about. I've given the folks a review, so I think we'll just launch right into that conversation with maybe just another quick little reminder, just to make that conversation accessible, hopefully. But then I'll open it and give more intentional space to talk about recruitment and plan out how we want to do that. That being said, outreach is kind of already underway. So I invite council members to identify community partners and talk with me directly. What I'm going to do is also communicate with you all and give you guidance on the types of things that we would like to inform other community partners, advocates, whoever, about, words that you can use, ideas that you can use, so that you can go out to these identified folks and talk about our council with them, and hopefully go out and recruit somebody very intentionally to fill our seats. So we'll have more conversation about it in February, but we're going to start it even now. So yeah, and I do have, so I see some things in the chat here. I do have flyers ready to go. And so I'll actually be able to send those to you this week. They've been approved by our privacy folks. And so I'll get flyers and information for y'all. I have the application link as well. So you'll be able to share that with whoever you want to share that with. And then also look to just our emails to kind of publicize that we're recruiting at all. Thanks for the questions. Sorry that conversation got cut a little short. I did want to offer, though, at least a few minutes to talk about February's agenda. So with the scheduling discussion that we had before, I'm just looking at my calendar behind me. February 25th is our next planned council meeting from 1 to 3. Does anybody want to state right now anything they'd like for me to consider to add to the agenda? Okay, great. Well, if not, that's fine. If you think of something between now and then, shoot me an email. Just be like, hey, Corey, can we maybe add this to the agenda? Want to talk about this? I think it's an important thing. You're also welcome to bring updates whenever you want. So if it's just like a little thing you want to share out, you're welcome to bring that. So that'll be great. Always just let me know if you ever want to add anything to our agenda. I do construct our agendas with a lot of conversation with my team about what's going on here and possible recommendations or other information that I think is important that we get through. We also have contract obligations to fulfill, and so we'll bring presenters in to make sure that they're presenting out publicly, letting you all know how their work is going and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that any of you can't also be like, hey, this is happening right now. Let's have some time to discuss this. Let's have some time to review this. Just keep in mind, any subject matter experts or anything that we want to invite do have to go through us first. We need approval for that, and there are some stipulations around that. I can get into that more. Always ask me questions, but subject matter experts get a little tricky. And so if you're ever like, well, I want this person to come and present at us, ask me first, and we also have to make sure that they're kind of stating potential conflict of interest, and they might not be able to receive funding from us for a little while and things like that. So keep that in mind. I know it's a lot. I'm just kind of throwing at you, but I want you all to be involved in these agendas as opposed to me just being like, all right, guys, here's the work that you got to do. It's your meetings, so y'all are in charge of them as much as you can be. Contract obligations notwithstanding. So just keep that all in mind. And it is about 3. If nobody else has anything else, then Michelle, you are welcome to move to adjourn.
I'm not gonna move to adjourn. I'm gonna address one question that Molly put in the chat, which is there someone at RMHS that you should contact before joining the meeting on? Sorry. I am not sure, Kisley. Is there someone now that she's going to be the liaison that she has to contact?
We only need your contact information, Molly, so that we can make sure you have all the materials and the invites.
Great, thank you.
Now let me just make sure. With that being said, now I'm gonna move that we adjourn the meeting at exactly 3 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Woo, 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 woo.
Second, Brian B.
Wonderful. Well, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you so much. Molly and Kisley, I will send a little connection email for you both so you have your contact information. And chairs, I'll also reach out to you to make sure that you know what you need to do come February's meeting.
Yeah.
So
So Brian, can you hang back for like 2 minutes?
I can.
Okay.